Elimination Chamber. Tom, what is the first thing that comes to mind when I say Elimination Chamber?
Overdone. I miss when it was something cool, when it was dangerous, when you had Goldberg spearing Chris Jericho through a pod door, and now it feels as desanitized as a normal Monday Night Raw match. Like, there's just no edge. There's edge. There is edge. But I think with this, because Kofi Kingston's now in one of the matches, I think on the Raw side, obviously.
Yep.
I think we're going to get a spot where he climbs the cage and jumps off onto everyone. But other than that, it's going to be rinse and repeat of your same standard spots.
I agree with you that it is overdone, and I think it's the same kind of process of like the Hell in the Cell and the TLC, where when you make it an event, you now have to fit something into here even when something doesn't warrant it. Now, even if you had an Elimination Chamber event every year, I don't think this should also be on the road to WrestleMania. I know it's leaving you a bunch of options open in case somebody gets injured or somebody's got to, whatever the reason is. So it leaves a whole bunch of, they can shuffle those decks in a moment's notice by the end of next month and still come up with a main event. They're not tied into whatever happened in the Royal Rumble, but let's just forget, move that to somewhere else in the year, or make the Royal Rumble not the thing that gets somebody a title shot. The Elimination Chamber does. This is just weird now.
I agree. That makes sense. Yeah. Cause if you say the road to WrestleMania starts with the winner of the Royal Rumble match, well, that's not necessarily true, because I have another shot, if I'm a superstar, to get into the Elimination Chamber match, and then I win the title that way. So you need to put Elimination Chamber maybe post SummerSlam in that little lull of fall that really doesn't have much. Maybe put it in the Survivor Series, right? Survivor Series, survive the Elimination Chamber. You can, market it that way. Yep. Yeah, I agree with you though. It feels like another start-stop. So we start with Royal Rumble, then we stop it with the Elimination Chamber, but then we start it again. And so, it's a little clunky.
Well, we'll go through some things here. And by the way, if you want a full rundown of some WWE stuff, I know of one WWE Raw review that you can catch in just under a minute if you follow us. Follow us, by the way, on YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter, right? Those are the main things you got to focus on. This we're going to catch the hottest updates at. You can find all the links on SpanishAnnounceTable.net. YouTube is Spanish Announce Tube. TikTok is at Spanish Announce Table. Twitter's at Table Show. Hit us up with hashtag Tweet the Table on Twitter. You might get some read here. We got a long show this week, and we were off last week, so we didn't get a whole influx, and we're going to pause that for this week, the Tweet the Tables, but keep those rolling in. We'll read them next week. But Elimination Chamber, right? So we'll cover some of the stuff that happened on Raw, but if you want to catch a deep dive, check that out on TikTok. I got a WWE Raw review right on there.
It's awesome.
There's only 4 things here on WWE.com that they're listing as matches. So I don't know. We'll probably get something more. WWE is notorious for this. They'll come up with something at the last minute.
So, well, is the Roman Reigns thing on there? Because the SmackDown side of the Elimination Chamber is the match, and then the winner has to take on Roman afterwards. So that's a 2-parter.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So technically there'll be a 5th match then, I guess, here. We'll roll through what they have right up here on WWE.com. Yeah. Elimination Chamber. You excited, Tom?
Mm-hmm.
You excited, Tom?
I am. Let's get into it.
Let's on a little bit here. We got a Raw Women's Championship match, Asuka and Lacey Evans. Now, Lacey Evans was pregnant, so I don't know. We've got to come up with a different scenario here. So this is still on their card. So what do you think happens, I guess we'll say?
What happens? By the way, I like that you're giving me a storyline to come up with, which, by the way, on our YouTube page, I did for Cesaro. I was given the task of just doing his general push. Check that out. It's a little under 10 minutes. Anyhow, what would I do with now Lacey Evans is pregnant? She can't be the number 1 contender against Asuka. I would say Ric Flair pushes the hand of Charlotte, essentially says, if you want my love as your father, you will do this match for my friend Lacey Evans. And then Charlotte's like, you fine, and goes in there and they have a match. It's not that good. and Asuka retains. And Ric Flair costs Charlotte the match somehow. I still think we're going to do this father-daughter rivalry, but with the father using next, since Lacey Evans is out of commission with being pregnant, which congratulations. I think what we might see here, Peyton Royce is the fill-in, right? Now Ric Flair's kissing on Peyton Royce, and Peyton Royce is a good wrestler. Peyton Royce and Charlotte, that would be a good match.
It would be there.
Yeah. What's Peyton doing right now? Nothing. So I still think it's the Ric Flair has someone that's going to show Charlotte that she's not good enough. But going back to this, Charlotte wrestles Asuka, Ric Flair does something, Asuka retains.
Okay, then we have a United States Championship
what do you think?
match. God. Yeah, Asuka's going to come out of this with a title, right? Like, what does it matter? What does it matter? Asuka's going to win because they got a punt, right? They basically have to punt.
I love that. I said, like, what do you think? Nah, fuck this shit.
I mean, really, what? Nothing of significance is going to happen in this match now.
Nah.
Not that anything was gonna. United States Championship match.
That's awesome.
Wonder if I can name the show title. How do you spell that? All right.
I don't know.
I think it's MNAA. All right. United States Championship match. Bobby Lashley, Keith Lee, and Matt Riddle. I'm still not going to drop the first name. I'm not doing it. No,
fuck that. It's Matt Riddle.
God. The only reason I see Bobby Lashley losing this is because they may put him up in a higher grade, like he goes up against Drew McIntyre. So I think Bobby Lashley's going to lose somehow. There'll maybe be some Hurt Business little kerfluffle, right? Kerfluffle, if that's a word. And Keith Lee wins this thing.
Ooh, I like that idea. I think regardless of what happens, Matt Riddle's taking the pinfall. I think Matt Riddle's in this to lose.
Yep.
And so that sucks because I really like Matt Riddle. I think Bobby Lashley retains. I do agree with you with the Keith Lee being maybe the new mid-card guy to take a title and run with it. However, with Matt Riddle in this match, I can see Keith Lee hits the spirit bomb on Matt Riddle. He gets up. Bobby Lashley spears Keith Lee. Keith Lee rolls to the outside. Bobby Lashley pins Matt Riddle. Bobby Lashley retains. Yay, Bobby Lashley won, but it was really Keith Lee who beat him. And then at WrestleMania, we get the one-on-one match, Keith Lee, Bobby Lashley. Keith Lee at WrestleMania then beats Bobby Lashley. So that's what I think happens.
Okay. All right, then we've got the 2 Elimination Chamber matches. Now, the SmackDown side does come with the caveat that Roman Reigns is going to take on the winner that night for their title shot, which is a great story.
God,
they did on SmackDown.
He is just amazing, isn't he? Everything he's doing makes you want to give him the middle finger and also be like, I would do that as well. I would do that exact same thing, but fuck you, coward. You know?
I do know. So let's run through this first match here. We have Kevin Owens, Daniel Bryan. Both of those it was Uso and Kevin Owens that were automatically placed in, right? They didn't have to, right? Which is fun. Jey Uso, Daniel Bryan, Cesaro, who they seem to be trying to highlight lately, Sami Zayn, and King Corbin. This is a rough one. I don't know because I think Roman Reigns comes out of this. They're going to have him strapped up at WrestleMania. So he's beating whoever it is. So I feel like it could be Kevin Owens. He overcomes the odds again just to get screwed out of it again. Could be Jey Uso and we get a finger poke of doom. There's so many ways we go. It could be Cesaro and then he gets screwed out of it. Now we've got a Cesaro's taking on Roman Reigns thing. So I really don't know which way we're going to go with this. So I'm going to take a shot in the dark and I'm going to say Owens wins this just to lose to Roman Reigns again. Just kind of spin the hope of Owens again.
That's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to get at WrestleMania Kevin Owens, Jey Uso. I think that's going to be where those two guys land on the card.
That could be a good match.
So with that being said, I think essentially those two eliminate each other from this match, disqualification. I don't know how you could get disqualified, but you get what I'm saying. They fight to where Daniel Bryan rolls one up and King Corbin rolls up the other one. They're both eliminated. What the
they
fuck?
knock each other out.
Yeah,
and
something
then it's
like that.
Corbin
right?
and Zayn get to steal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So with all that being said, even though I just did a video where I think Cesaro should be pushed to the moon as a wrestling machine, and this would be the greatest catapult for that type of character, my gut says Daniel Bryan. I think Daniel Bryan is kind of on his last leg as a full-time wrestler. We're going to do something to where he's the Iron Man in this match. He then goes after Elimination Chamber, says, Roman, you piece of shit, at 100%, you could never beat me. You never have, or whatever, says something like that. And then at WrestleMania, we get Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan.
Ew. And
but then I think, yeah, I agree with you. Roman Reigns beats whoever this is. Here's one thing though that I think they missed on. If you caught SmackDown last week, they had a tag team match where the winning tag team gets the 2 spots in the Elimination Chamber, and it was King Corbin and Sami Zayn, and then Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. Rey and Dominic should have been in this match. I know they're doing the Rey is trying to tell Dominic how to navigate the waters in WWE and to get his career on the right track. And Dominic's saying, I can do it on my own. They need to fucking fight just a little bit. And this is a good way to force them to do a Hurricane Rana on each other or whatever it is. They should have had some intrigue where Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio get a little,
I don't know that I'll
father-son.
Find myself muttering the words that Rey and Dominic should have been in this match, but
you wouldn't want to see that. What if Rey Mysterio hits a 619 on Cesaro and out of that,
see Rey and Dominic Mysterio in this match? Fill in the blank for whatever match. I don't ever want to see them in this match.
Yeah.
Now, yes, this will be a great story to tell. If they're in the Elimination Chamber, they're 1 and 2.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Something.
Yeah, they have to start it off. Yeah, and so that would just be perfect where they kind of stare at each other in the ring, and not Sami Zayn's in the match, but who would be a heel? Jey Uso. Jey Uso is just fight, you pussies, you bitches.
And it should be Rey who does the dirty thing on Dominic finally to try to get one over, right? Create the tension in the family and raise the heel. Damn it.
That would be fun.
Now maybe we might see a Rey Mysterio heel run because he's trying to get his son over. We might actually see that nowadays.
Wouldn't that be fun? Anyhow.
All right, so the Raw side, WWE Champion Drew McIntyre will defend in a match against Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, Kofi Kingston, and Sheamus, the late edition Kofi Kingston. So, yeah, the Miz thing, first of all, Miz's promo to open Raw was good. I liked it. I like how, he gets punked out and then he's like, you're fun. You can see him snapping a little, but then the swerve, well, I know I made fun of it in my video of well, no, I'm not going to fight him, but it is smart. Why would I do this? I'm going to wait. I've got the money in the bank. Screw you guys. I'm out of here. And then we get Kofi. Which is fine. And Kofi, came up big last time at this, and Kofi's going to put in everything, and Kofi's good. I guess I could see him winning, but not. They're going to have Drew McIntyre as the champion at Mania, I feel like. Now, we may get Drew versus Kofi. Something happens here to lead us there. I could see them trying to get a push behind Kofi again, but I don't know. I just feel like Drew McIntyre still wins this. Unless Sheamus wins it and we're getting Drew Sheamus at Mania and Drew wins it back, right? Is the only thing I think. But I don't think they're going to build around Sheamus. So I think Drew wins.
Yeah, and that just feels a tad underwhelming, doesn't it? If I were to tell you, even though they've been best friends for 20 years.
We get Randy Orton Fiend. Because, Randy Orton, she raised the dead.
Yeah.
In a satanic ritual. So, maybe Randy Orton wins and we get Fiend trying to get that title.
Now that would be nice. That would be fun. I wouldn't hate that idea. Although that would be the second time that they've wrestled for a championship.
Randy Orton would have how many, he'd be close to Cena, wouldn't he? He'd be 14, 15 titles.
Yeah. He'd be up there. What do I think? So one thing that I think is interesting that we haven't talked about yet is we obviously don't know, but the placement of these matches. Because I think my gut tells me the person who's standing tall at the end of all of this is Edge. And I think if you have the SmackDown Championship, the SmackDown Elimination Chamber match, you're going to get Daniel Bryan wins it, right? And then Daniel Bryan loses to Roman Reigns, and then Roman Reigns stands tall. He takes a spear by Edge, Edge stands all over Roman. He's like, I picked you, bitch. Like, let's fight at WrestleMania. Okay. And the spear versus spear. But I think if Raw is the one that ends the match, or excuse me, ends the night, then Drew McIntyre might do the thing where he overcame Sheamus and, oh, fella, you weren't good enough to beat me. And then Edge says, you're not good enough to beat me, motherfucker. Fella. Whap. Yeah, and then whap. And he spears Drew McIntyre, and then that's where Rated R Superstar debuts, and we get the Rated R Superstar versus Drew McIntyre to go to WrestleMania. Without all that being said.
No, here's what's going to happen. Corbin's going to win the SmackDown one. He's going to defeat Roman Reigns, and then Edge is going to spear Corbin, and we're going to get Edge Corbin at Mania.
I mean, they did Corbin Angle, so it wouldn't shock me.
Corbin is the guy who retired Kurt Angle in WWE. Yeah. That one hurts, doesn't it?
Doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good, Tim. It feels about as good as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beating the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Doesn't feel as good as Cocaine Shane feels right now, right here in this picture. He feels pretty good. So yeah, that's Elimination Chamber. Tom, what I think we kind of hit it. Unless you've got any outro.
I think what we're gonna remember from Elimination Chamber, predicting, kind of talking about what we're gonna recap on next week's episode, is I think this is where the Fiend does come back. I think the way Randy Orton gets out of this Elimination Chamber match is Alexa Bliss appears in the middle of the ring or something. And I think we even get a more sadistic, crazier looking Fiend, Bray Wyatt, whatever you want to call him. I think it's going to almost be comical. Remember when he had the big mallet against, I think it was Daniel Bryan, and we were like, what the fuck is that? Something that dumb. Where we're going to be like, good effort. Fucking stupid, but good effort. Because Bray Wyatt can't be Bray Wyatt because it's a PG show and Vince McMahon's a fucking idiot now. So I think something like that. He may have fucking horns. He may look like a Luchasaurus fucking horn thing. But yeah, Fiend is where we're going to get that fun moment. It's going to
be a new merch line of something for the Fiend. Yeah.
Right. That's where something's going to happen. And then I think, what else do I think? I think Roman, we're going to think like is so fucking cool at the end. Yeah, although I think he closes it and Edge stands over him.